Alright, what's going on today, guys? We have a huge upgrade for the Mustang, as you guys can see. So, we've been working on the transmission for quite a while. We've been fighting a lot of weather our way. I have taken apart that T5. I mean, guys, I don't even know, probably 10 times at this point, trying to get the synchros and everything all happy. I probably have, I would say 60 hours in on it by the time if you add in all the research and everything. Anyway, so we got the 302 in, T5 is in. We gotta figure out how we're gonna fuel it all, and we are making the plunge into EFI. So we have the EFI Tech kit here, part number 30003 for 4-barrel. And guys, I'm gonna be honest with you, I got a smoking deal on this. So believe it or not, I traded both of my Edelbrock Performer carburetors for the FI kit. Now I had to purchase the fuel pump kit myself, which wasn't too bad, and then the fuel sending unit for EFI as well. I had to purchase that. This is just a generic one off CJ Pony Parts, CJ Classic part here. Yeah, so my neighbor my childhood home, he has an LS swapped Jeep YJ, and he has had quite a few problems based on the guy he had install his Fitech unit. He didn't like it. He is a carburetor guy through and through. So he was just like, you know what, I had it installed, didn't like the way it ran. I want an Edelbrock carburetor. I've always used those. I'm very familiar with the Edelbrock carburetors, and we did a little trade because I had 2 of them. So I sent both of those back to my parents' house, and he sent this out to me. So we got really, really lucky. I think so anyway. The Edelbrock Performer carbs we actually had about $1,000 worth of carbs and some other stuff too, because carburetors are going through the roof price-wise. They're nearing like $500 at the time of this video. So, pretty ridiculous if you ask me. So, yeah, anyway, so we have a ton of stuff here to unbox. I'm kind of just really excited, obviously going through it all right now. We are just going to kind of start pulling some things out. This kit is, it has a lot going on, I will say that. So, we're going to get everything out, kind of lay it all out, go over quite a few of the things, and we'll discuss what we're going to do today, because there's no way we're really getting this done in one go. So when it comes to the FI kit itself, the main throttle body unit, I didn't really want gold, obviously. We're going with the black and red theme kind of on the car. But for obviously the trade, I am not complaining at all. So this is it says it on the side, the Go Street version, capable for 400 horsepower, which is going to be great for our application. That's a 302 motor, based on kind of some of the things I'm seeing and looking around online. I'm thinking it's probably making low 300s if I had to guess. Maybe 350. I would be kind of surprised if it was that high. Honestly, I'd be even surprised if it is hitting 300. I'm not entirely sure. The guy I bought it from said it should be in the mid 300s, but you just never know. So anyway, we got the throttle body controller. We have the original screen that came with it, and we have another one in the bag. So what I've read about these Fitech units is these screens are not necessarily the best, so they go bad. And as you can see, we have like a brand new one as well. So I'm assuming whoever he had installed this wasn't very knowledgeable in it. It sounds like the guy who did it really wasn't. So just never got the carb. His Jeep running right, which is like he just want to go back to a carb, and basically the guy was kind of milking him for more money just to keep buying and rebuying carbs, which kind of lucked out for us, but really stinks for him. Anyway, so we have the 2 screens, the throttle body. We have all the wires already hooked up for the most part for the actual screen itself. So we'll have to run, this wire obviously inside, which is with this nice loom. Same with the O2 sensor, which we have a brand new one in the bag. O2 sensor bung. And then we have all new wiring for pretty much everything. So everything's covered up. This looks like they're all from Fitech as well, for the fuel pump, the tap, everything that is pretty much already plugged in here. So it looks like they're chasing down some type of wiring issues. I mean, we still have, this looks like it's for the unit itself, maybe to hardwire. We have this little fuse block here, which all these plug in. So, and the directions, and there's even some more wiring harnesses and stuff in the box itself. But today we're not going to be focusing in on the throttle body. I'm actually going to be working on the fuel tank. So right now we're going to be working on the fuel tank. We have some nice weather finally, which will allow me to have a little bit of time to go ahead and work on the fuel tank side of the house. And I also got to get more line, and I want to get my wiring kind of figured out before I go ahead and start trying to install the actual throttle body itself. I may throw the throttle body on there just for looks, but really it's not the priority for today. And I gotta check and see if I have gaskets, because I don't think I do. So what we're gonna focus on today, guys, is the fuel sending unit for EFI. We have our gaskets. It looks pretty simple. Basically, we are just going to take a hole saw, which I don't know if I have one that would be the correct size, so I'll probably end up just drilling that out and using like a jigsaw or a grinder for the fuel sending unit. I'm sorry, the fuel sending unit, yeah, for the gauge. And then we actually have the fuel pump right here, and this is a universal part. It comes with some bracketry, the holes, everything we're going to need, different various size socks for filters, some wiring components, little fuel pump, zip ties, and then the fuel pump itself for the kit. So this is the intake fuel pump, and that's what we're going to be working on today, is all of this. So it should go pretty quick, pretty easy. The plan today is to at least get all of the holes cut and hopefully everything mounted. I don't have enough fuel line, so I'm going to have to order more fuel line, and these are -6 AN fittings, so we are going to have to order some more fuel line to make a couple AN fittings, and we will have to get that. I'll get it off Amazon. Here are our gaskets for this guy, and then our pump. Pump's pretty simple. We're basically going to end up cutting this. Then you pretty much plug it in, cut it, zip tied up. It came with a zip tie, throw a sock on there, and I mean that's pretty much it. It is pretty dang simple with your wiring. And then this here is for a vent tube, which I could have sworn that was in the kit. I may have lost it, or it may not be the kit. I'm not entirely sure. So essentially what we're going to be doing is kind of zip tying this all together, throw a sock on there. You may be able to reuse maybe one of these for the vent tube, more than likely. But if not, I can always just grab some extra. So not worried about that. First thing we're going to do is we are going to grab our gasket for a template, which is this guy here. We got a pretty thick gasket and a smaller one. I honestly don't know. Assuming it would go. This has to go up inside the tank. So probably like that. So this would be inside the tank itself. And then this guy would probably go in through here, if I had to imagine. Probably something like that. So we are going to go ahead and here's the same size. No, they're definitely not. So we're going to get this going first. We're going to measure that out, see where it goes according to the directions, and kind of just looking around at EFI tanks that are already made. It's goes kind of towards the back where most people put it. Looks like it doesn't come with the vent tube according to the directions. All right. So it does not say I thought I read through this, it does not say exactly where you should put it in the vehicle, and actually in the directions they have a couple different locations. So it actually looks like it doesn't matter. From what I've seen online, most people go about halfway on the tank with the pressure and return side facing obviously forward of the car, and then they will add the fuel level sending unit in front of it, kind of like that. So we're gonna do the same thing. We are gonna go ahead and take this out to the car. We're gonna trace what's going on, and we should be good. Should be pretty easy. So let's take you guys out to the car and we will get started. Yes, I'm all over the place. I'm pretty freaking excited. Welcome back, guys. We finally have some nice weather, so we are working on the Mustang. As you can tell, my voice not feeling the greatest, but it's nice weather. It's gonna take advantage of it. We went ahead and made an AN line just from Evil Energy Parts off of Amazon. I made it 18 inches. That way we'll reach our regular down here. Just got done taking the grommet, poking it through. And we have that going down below into our old, well, old, but it's new. I believe it's a, what is that, 100 micron fuel filter. What I'd like to have done is maybe move it over here so I don't have such a drastic angle right there. But it just is what it is. Or I might even do the return and that grommet, and then do the feed on over a couple more inches. So I just don't have that. I just don't like that like 90 degrees there in the hose. I'd rather get some a little less angle there. That looks really good. So we're planning on running the lines down the driver's side, kind of like I already have them, but the first couple I have are very, very long. So I'm going to have to hopefully start getting things measured out. I have one ran from a long time ago, and that AN fitting is not right. After doing one off the car and really testing those ones, I found out that I didn't do those ones right. So I'll show you guys how to do those now. This line here is very long, but essentially all we need to do is mark it up at the front of the car, which means we probably got to get the Fitech mounted real quick at the carburetor location, and do a whole bunch of trimming off this line. So I probably don't need quite a few feet of this, as you can see. Oh, that's a shame. It's getting rusty. I have to knock that down. Because we're gonna run the lines up, and I kind of don't want to even go through this apron at all. So what I'm probably gonna end up doing is bringing it up, kind of back down over the exhaust, bring it up and over, and hopefully bring it up right around in here, because the Fitech has its fuel rails, its lines right here for the pressure return, and it's internally regulated. So I actually bought a fuel pressure regulator, but I don't even need it. So we just need to work on getting this guy out and cut and add some lines. We will get to that. Probably gonna mark it about where I think it needs to be anyway. So probably to get up to there, I'll probably just take a tape measure, kind of guess, and then kind of measure off of this. Honestly, I could probably just cut it like right about here, and that should be plenty enough to give myself plenty to work with and loop around, and then take the whole thing out and get it mounted up. And then, yeah, so I'll show you guys how to do an AN fitting. I think I also need to get a smaller fuel filter, so I believe that's a 10 micron. I think I'm supposed to have a 100 micron as well, but I also want it to be a 6 AN because we're doing all AN lines here. And I don't know where I would mount that, probably just up somewhere in the back along with the fuse box. I haven't decided, and yeah, just haven't decided yet. So still got a lot of cleaning up to do. I haven't been out here in months, probably 2-ish months at this time. So temperatures have been super cold, so just haven't had the motivation to get out here
But we will continue to keep working. We gotta, you know, fix some brake lines. We gotta get those mounted up, make them look nice. We just need to get the Fitech on, and then we gotta figure out the wiring on this car, which I'm gonna try and get everything to work, at least run and started with the current wiring. But I do think I'm gonna end up replacing the entire wiring harness on a budget, of course. And we will go from there. I don't think this wiring is particularly great. There's a lot of just hack jobs. I added to some of those hack jobs, to be honest, just trying to get some stuff figured out. I need to get a new radiator, definitely shroud and all that, but I'll probably just get a new one. And I need to get a little radiator hose. That one down there, it's just, I need to get one of those flexible ones. The way I had to route it, it's a little too kinked, and I might be able to cut it and make it work, so we have to check that out. For some reason, my crank pulley is rusted. I thought that would look good, keep everything nice and black with that machined, but as you can see, it has some surface rust, so maybe not. Yeah, so the plan is to hopefully get this thing running with the Fitech, and I'll update you guys. I'm gonna do some stuff off of the camera. I'm just going to get some fittings. I hope I have them for the Fitech itself to make it 6 a.m. and then just measure this line and then the other line as well. And once we measure those lines, I'll show you guys how to do an AN fitting. Significantly different when you do it right versus kind of how I did that first one. I did it on the car and I wasn't even close to doing it right after getting it done correctly this time around. So I'll show you guys how to do that, and then I'm just gonna be running wiring. I bought some little like clip things that hold, you know, the AN lines right next to each other to make them look nice, and we'll use those. And then I got to work on cleaning out this trunk, doing some other stuff. It's been used for storage, tools, everything else like that, and we'll just continue to keep making progress. Okay guys, sorry about that, I don't have my mic on, but we got to the point where our AN fittings are clean, or I'm sorry, they're created, they are good to go. And now if we look down in our tank, you can see our sock fell off, and we actually have a pile of metal shavings from cutting out this hole and everything. Guess we did a great job of the hole. Shane has gotten rid of the whole saw instead of not. So what I just read online is you can use water and just let it dry. So I think that's what I'm gonna do, is just get the hose out here, dry some of this stuff off. Or sorry, rinse all this out. I have my bucket down below. Let it all run out, let it dry for probably the night. Get my fittings and everything maybe ran, but you know, maybe plumbed in just to the fuel sending unit and everything, but I probably won't actually, you know, seat that down until I can let it sit overnight. And the weather's supposed to be getting a little bit warmer tomorrow, so I think if we just let it drain super high and try and get all out, I think we're going to be okay. So let me go and grab the hose. I'm not even going to put it on time lapse or anything for that. I'm just going to go ahead and rinse it out and hopefully be good to go. And while then that is drying, I'm going to do some research to see if I need to do, I bought a aftermarket fuel sending unit, which would go, I'm sorry, fuel level sending unit, which would require me to cut another hole right around in here. And it's made to be bolted directly into the tank that already has the nuts and everything already done. So I'm wondering if I could use my old one. I don't know if I can. My old fuel sending unit, which I replaced and it just never really worked. It's right here. The issue with that though is then I have this fuel line that I would need to block off somehow. So I need to see what people are doing using, you know, stock style tank, what they're doing with that hole in the bottom, which you should be able to see right there in the tank. You can actually see my jack. I need to see what people are doing, if they weld up a plate to cover that, or if I can just, you know, put that hose and somehow maybe just clamp off that hose a whole bunch or something. I'm not entirely sure. It is towards the bottom of the tank, so I'm not opposed to welding something up and calling it good. I just don't know. So, yep, we're just gonna rinse this out and we'll get back to it, guys. Okay guys, welcome back. It is the next day here. So what we did was we left the back end of the car jacked up pretty much as high as my jack could go, trying to let everything drain out. And overnight, all the little metal shavings, everything I showed you guys inside the tank, all of the nasty stuff, flushed about 2 gallons of water through there, and we still have quite a bit of residual fluid in there, you guys can see. So you could just see there's basically all water now in there. So water, fuel, and then I'm sure some other little metal shavings and stuff. So I can't get the car up high enough to apparently drain it, even though it was about, I think I had over 2 feet difference from the back to the front. I mean, it was massive. Didn't work out. So we got my trusty, my brother's trusty little shop vac that we use for all the nasty stuff that we don't want to ruin any of our good shop vacs or anything with. So this is a good one, small enough to where I can actually get the hose all the way down in there. We're going to suck everything out, and then I took out the mount for the fuel level sending unit as well. So that hole is opened up on the bottom of the tank. We can suck everything out through there. I'm not going to put you guys on time lapse or anything for this one. We're just going to get to it. Okay guys, we are back, and that was a fun like hour and a half. Basically, I used that shop vac, sucked out all the fluid, sucked out everything I could with it. It just wasn't very powerful. So then I used our like secondary vacuum that we have as well. Basically, we have this one that I've used for a lot of construction projects or things indoors. So it sucks up a lot of drywall and just not nice things. So this one is kind of a workhorse, kind of an older vacuum that we've had, so it can do all the nasty stuff. And we hold on to it with things just like this. Sucked everything out with that. Still wasn't exactly happy, so grabbed a magnet and basically just went fishing with this magnet for about an hour. And try to get any and all metal out of the tank. And I think we are very successful. So I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see in there, but I just kept going around and around until everything was out. Scratched up the inside a little bit with the magnet, but you know, that's something I'm willing to live with. So right now we can finally work on actually installing our Fitech in-tank fuel pump. So this is where I'm a little nervous, hoping that this doesn't fall. The whole thing doesn't fall out. I think I remember I'm going to put one nut way down to hold it all in. So I'm probably going to need both hands for this. I think I put a nut on one of these. Oh no, we are holding on just by pure luck at the moment. Back over there. Okay, we also switched around the pressure and return lines. I wanted the return to be red because red return, that just makes more sense to me. But I can also see how come red would be for the pressure side. But that's just what I preferred. Now my hole isn't exactly the best because I didn't use a hole saw. That is absolutely something I would redo with the hole saw. So just spent the money, done it right. Absolute mistake on my end, 100%. And I guess where it's aligned, none of the nuts are long enough, but this also isn't seating far enough down. Interesting. Turn these a little more. Nope. you guys have to press on it really, really hard, which I kind of don't want to do. I don't want to press the whole thing back into the tank. Also looks like one of the screws is off. This one over here. Slightly. On the bright side, we know we'll have plenty enough to reach. Maybe I'm supposed to use a smaller gasket, or does this come off? It's almost like I need to cut this in half. Somehow really press it down with your fingers. Try this again. I may have to end up cutting that in half a little bit. And if I had to cut that in half, I'm assuming that would be due to my cuts in general, not the Fitech stuff. I would 100% say it's operator installer error. These guys have everything figured out, so I guarantee it's some kind of. Okay, there we go. We're like really close. Just to hold it. Maybe if you start tightening them, it'll suck it all in place, I guess. It's pretty tough. Oh, looks like there's ring gaskets on it. It has a whole bunch of these little green gaskets, guys. I'm pretty sure that's supposed to go on these that come up and through. I failed to do that, so I think I'm going to live without them. Alright, there we go. Yeah, so it's all operator error. I've done quite a few things wrong. All starting to cut in that hole. Just not good. And I would have liked to realign this to make it straight. And then my lines would be straight and I can run the vent. Plan on running it over to the filter neck. Alright, well I'm going to grab a wrench and tighten all that down. Okay guys, so we have to figure out what we're going to do with the fuel sending unit. So what we have going on here is our normal fuel sending unit here. So this clamp's going to give away what I'm going to do. We're going to do some level of welding. I'm going to start. I have a pretty old tube of seam sealer, just some black Eastwood seam sealer, and it says here it withstands weathering, oxidation, salt, gasoline, and most solvents. So that's the only thing I have that's I can stick in there that's it's kind of like gasoline resistant. So I actually just went through some of my random screws and everything and found that I have one really long screw here. So I'm actually going to use this one. But the head of this screw fits perfectly into the pickup for the gas itself. So we still want the mechanism for the fuel level sending unit, but we don't want to actually have any fuel coming through. So given the fact that this is probably, I think this is a 5-inch drywall screw. No, that's a 3-inch. Like just 4. Let's see. 4-inch. 4-inch drywall screw. My plan is to take some of my seam sealer, go ahead and shoot some down in there. It looks like our hole might be kind of big, so I might kind of work it in there. Kind of just going slow. Essentially just want to clog this thing up. So we got a good healthy bead in there to start. And then what we're going to do, we're going to cover this guy as well. We're going to go pretty heavy with this. Mainly because it's seam sealer, I don't mind using it up. And the plan is to just stick this in there. Hopefully it has so much seam sealer that there's just no way it could get through and not allow any way to get the gas. As you can see, we definitely overdid it, but that is okay in this instance. And I don't have any rags, so looks like we're gonna have to waste a glove. Looks like I got some over here. We're just going to push that guy all the way in. Screwdriver. And I'm sure I could probably seam seal it and leave it and it would probably be fine. As soon as it hardens up. But I like welding. And I think this would be a good little test. I think that would ensure that it is completely sealed up as good as we can get it. So let me put the new screw back in my old seam sealer. Still got seam sealer left, which actually we're probably going to use on the outbound side too. So once I get done welding, I will come back in on this side. Obviously it's a little bit thicker on the output side, and I'm gonna put a whole bunch of seam sealer down in there as well, and then cap this off with this hose right here. I think I'm just gonna kind of fold it over and then hose clamp that really nice and tight, and just put a whole bunch of seam sealer in there as well. It'd be really cool if I could just cut it completely and then just weld this little hole up closed. That'd be the coolest scenario. But I'll have to test this, and maybe if that does work, then I'll just do that. if I can weld this up pretty good and it works, I'll do is I can put some like water through here and see if it comes out this way at all. I don't think it will. It's just gonna be a couple quick little tags. I think we are gonna be fine. And we're just gonna leave it like that. I'm gonna put some a little bit of clear on it. Brake force cleaner, which is very flammable. So I want to make sure I get any of that stuff off that potentially burn. So I'm just gonna throw a little bit on a microfiber. Just make sure we wipe all that down. I would think if you just seam seal it from the inside just like that, that is going to be good enough. And I know that seam sealer will probably hold that screw in there, but the reason I really want to throw a weld on there is to make sure that that screw doesn't end up put us in good shape. Let me get this all set up and we'll get back to welding. So here we are, all finished up, guys. So I went ahead and welded. I really gave that one a good run for it. Unfortunately, I don't have a vise or anything or clamps that really are adequate enough to let me really kind of hold it. So I just couldn't quite get comfortable on the one side. I think it may have been okay. So what I did was I went ahead and I grinded it down a few times. I think I did 4 rounds of that. Just throwing tack on there and trying it, grinding it, and then kind of checking everything out. It may have held, it may not have, I'm not entirely sure, without letting fuel through. So for just peace of mind, since I already had the seam sealer out, I went ahead and since I already had that nut and everything tacked in there pretty freaking good, I just went ahead and put as much as I could shove down in there, and then I just went around just because I had extra. So don't think I burned through any of the tube or anything through there. That's just extra on my hands. I just wiped it there. And then same on the outside, I went ahead and put a 2-inch drywall screw through there. Did the same method. Put a whole bunch of seam sealer down in there, and that was kind of nice because this rubber hose kind of provided a almost like a little funnel to get down in there. So put a whole bunch in there, put a 2-inch screw down in there, and then I capped it all off with some more seam sealer. And then before we install it in the car, I'll get a new hose clamp because this one's kind of beat, and I'll go ahead and hose clamp that off pretty good. Here's one that actually looks like it's still in good shape. And since we have the screw in there, the nail in there, it'll really help kind of hold all of that together a little bit better. And of course, I drop it and get stuff on me. Anyway, so we're gonna let that dry overnight, and we'll probably get that installed tomorrow. We have the gasket already on the car. It's left out there. We have the locking ring there, so we should be in pretty good shape overall. With that, I'm going to add that into the EFI tank video, because I know I had actually a few questions when I posted up on Facebook on how people are doing it, and you can buy a block off plate and everything, but to be honest, I don't mind having this, but I didn't want to have a giant loop of you know, the line here, like some of the other stuff I saw people doing it online. So I was like, well, I already took it out, so I might as well just close it up from the inside. So and I like that aspect of doing it from the inside and the outside. It's 2 failure points in case it just fails. Hopefully it won't, but you just never know. I'm a little overly cautious about it because getting that lock ring seated and everything perfect where that didn't leak, and just no leaks with this whole apparatus in general, took me like, I made a video about it, but I think I had to use 5 different gaskets that actually worked. And I did the chapstick method, the Vaseline method, the grease method, and nothing method. Tried even super gluing that thing in there. It was very, very difficult, and I finally got the right gasket, put it on there first try, and it worked with just a tiny bit of grease way back when. So we're gonna let that dry overnight, guys, and that'll conclude kind of the EFI tank video for now. Okay guys, this is an update from about a month or so after I installed the Fitech fuel unit, doing the gas tank and everything, and I said, man, I really hope that this doesn't end up leaking. Well, came home from work, and that is definitely fuel. So I panel mounted this stuff together, so kind of doubting not really gonna be able to salvage much. It's way up there. Yeah, you can see we're leaking out of that gasket and everything again. Which I've replaced that gasket about like 4 different times, so even done it off camera, and I got lucky. Didn't have issues for a while, but now we're having some issues. So, all right, well, looks like we have to do some work. I'm gonna actually look around for just a new fuel tank in general. I think an EFI one, the one that has everything up top anyway. Because I've just had so many issues with getting those gaskets, and my fuel sending unit doesn't work anyway. But I already bought the EFI fuel sending unit, so I can go ahead and use that to save money anyway. So I'm gonna look around for an EFI tank, I think, depending on prices, obviously. Or pull this one out, weld it shut, but then I don't have fuel level sending unit, and yeah, I'll have to figure it out. So we failed yet again, and the car doesn't start still.